If you watch porn, you may have noticed that the guys keep going for quite a long time, don't they? And you might have found yourself comparing your own efforts with what you see on the screen. And even if you're right on the 5.4 minute average, yes, that's how long men last, it seems a bit quick compared to these guys, doesn't it? It's enough to make one feel a bit lacking. As the legendary Nina Hartley once said, if you ever feel insecure about your own endurance, comparing yourself to the guys sweating away on screen isn't going to help with that. So let's have a bit of a reality check. How do men in porn last so long? Some of these guys are outliers. They are built to last for ages. There's a genetic element to this, and they have it in their DNA. And if they look the part and they have the equipment, that's how they ended up in porn. But there's a lot more that us mere mortals can learn from those porn performers. Firstly, sexual excitement is a big factor here. Now, I'm sure you've found that the more turned on you are, the more difficult it is to slow things down. But the set of a porn shoot is a place of work. It's a very different kind of turn on for the performers. The lights, the production crew, the intense pressure to perform, well, that's enough to keep anyone's sexual excitement in check. And it's tough work for hardened professionals. See what I did there? Now, the guy is well aware of this, of course. And internally, his excitement, it just doesn't ramp up as it would during real world sex. It can be difficult for men in porn to get fired up at all. A lot of them struggle with delayed ejaculation. They find it really difficult to feel sufficiently turned on and to reach orgasm. A lot of guys in porn take medications to stay hard and to keep up the performance. We'll get to that. Did you know that the whole fluffers thing is a total myth? It doesn't happen. So I don't know about you, but this porn star life is starting to feel a bit less appealing already. Next, remember that porn sex is meaningless sex. Well, what do I mean by this? Well, a big cause of early ejaculation is the meaning that we attribute to sex and our own role in it. We feel the need to satisfy our partner or they'll leave us. We have to keep delivering. And if we don't, we might feel less of a man. And feelings of unworthiness and insecurity can easily creep in. And this causes anxiety and an inability to relax into sexual pleasure. Performance anxiety, in other words. Doing porn brings its own set of performance pressures, but it's meaningless sex in this respect. As Stoyer, the porn performer and industry commentator, said, having sex every day for hours makes it so you get used to it. The porn performer needs to follow the director and to complete the scene, but there's no pressure to retain a partner. There's no relationship to shore up. There's no fear of not getting laid again or not being man enough. It's very different. The overthinking and the fears that so often make early ejaculation this self-fulfilling prophecy, they're simply not happening in porn. Now, if you're looking to last longer, I'm not saying, so stop caring about your partner then, but you might be stressing or overthinking your role in sex. What stories might you be telling yourself that create additional pressure and scare you and keep you stuck? Women don't want to have sex for an hour anyway, so don't stress too much about making it last as long as they do in the movies. There's Nina Hartley again. Now in porn, partners' orgasms matter less. A lot of men who struggle with premature ejaculation have this jackhammering habit. They bang away in the hope that this will bring their partner to orgasm. They're probably a bit influenced by the poundings and the things they've seen in porn. But in real life, this actually tends to have the opposite effect. The intensity pushes us over the edge too quickly. And most women say that this pneumatic pounding does little for them. They experience more sensation from slower or varying speed of strokes. Now in porn, jackhammering makes a scene look intense. And it doesn't really matter whether the recipient comes or not. Faking an orgasm is all part of the performance for women in porn. And if a scene does call for a real orgasm, say a squirting scene, well, there are all kinds of off-camera ways and tricks to get her there. Now, that's not to say that female performers don't reach orgasm on set. Some say that they regularly do, but this is more likely when there's been some foreplay, teasing, a variety of moves as part of the scene. Not so much from the jackhammering and the pounding. A quote from porn star Casey Calvert: "I found that the best way to extend the sex is to extend the foreplay. Instead of just taking 5 minutes to get warmed up, take 20 or an hour. Really tease each other." And here's a habit that's more common in real sex than in porn. Sticking to the same old position or two. We usually do this because our sexual confidence is a bit shaky. We have a position that's comfortable, we know it, it feels good, and even if we don't last for very long, it gets us through. Missionary position is a classic in this respect. Also because we can thrust for a while after we've come in missionary in order to prolong things by a few precious seconds. Now, what do porn performers have to say about this? Well, if you're really feeling like you're going to pop, switch it up. Don't stay too long in a position that feels the best to you. Save that for last. You don't need to do it 20 times, just change it up a few times and pleasure her orally in between. And she'll think you are a pro, not just delaying the inevitable. That's Kelly Madison speaking there. So the takeaway here is don't deliberately make yourself uncomfortable, but do get into the habit of switching things up. If you've been clinging to the same old routine or position for security and comfort, I know, allow yourself to experiment a bit. And in my self-help course for guys, I give a lot more steer on this, and that's linked in the description below. The vast majority of real-world sexual encounters, they happen with limited understanding of what each partner wants. This applies to one-night stands and to 20-year marriages. We're either too uncomfortable to ask, or we assume that we already know, or we just don't think about it. So we pretty much do our own thing during sex. There isn't a conversation going on before or after sex. And if we struggle to make sex last, or we have performance anxiety, well, we're even less likely to talk to our partners about sex. We're scared of what we might hear. But shooting a porn scene requires discussion. There's planning, direction. They take test shots, and they talk during the scene to make it more exciting to watch. There is constant communication throughout a porn scene, whether the mic catches it or not. In real-world sex, honest communication about your wants, your fantasies, your preferences, and even your fears is a very positive thing. When done right, talking during sex brings additional benefits. It helps keep us from retreating into those old thoughts and anxieties. Veteran porn star Peter North even deploys a little reverse logic trick. When things are getting hot, what I've done is talking to the girl. I'm the one who's getting closer to coming, but I say to her, "Don't come yet. Hold on, don't come yet. Ride that line. Stay on the fence." Now, if this kind of communication isn't happening in your relationship, it can be tricky to open it up, to know where to begin. So I cover this on my course, and I'll put out some more videos on getting more comfortable with this level of intimacy and communication. It is worth taking the plunge. Guys often say that when they're getting it on, they lose themselves in waves of pleasure or anxiety. And before they know it, they've hit that point of no return. They are coming. Now, this losing ourselves is kind of natural. It's essential for getting the job done. The porn set is full of distractions, and this presents challenges in staying hard and aroused. We'll get to that. But it also keeps the male performer stepped back from himself. So with practice, he's less likely to get lost in his experience. So be aware of just how big a difference this makes. Distraction can be a useful thing in prolonging sex. Plenty of men know this already, and they try and distract themselves in other ways, thinking unsexy thoughts and counting backwards, etc. But there are better ways, in my opinion, so see my other video for more about that. One more thing that explains these porn star superpowers, and it's a big one: medications, stimulants, injections even. To help with the pressure to maintain an erection, Viagra is used a lot in the industry. and it's often used in combination with numbing sprays and lubes to minimise the sensations of all that banging. SSRI antidepressant medication such as Prozac, fluoxetine, citalopram, this stuff is also widely used. These meds flatten out our arousal and they delay ejaculation. Some of these guys go to the lengths of injecting meds into their penis, something called bi-mix, for example. And this gives them a rock-hard erection that stays hard even after they've come. Of all the ideas and inspiration you might get from this video, maybe leave that one in the world of porn, okay? Much safer is this, and it's an organic nugget of wisdom from Japan's most enduring male porn star, Shigeo Tokuda. If we're talking about things that give you stamina, I eat eggs every day. So what are the main takeaways for guys who want to last longer in their own bedrooms? There are many differences between porn and real-world sex. The environment the sex happens in, the positions and the movement and the psychology at play. And we only see the edited final product of porn, of course. So no wonder guys' bodies work very differently in porn compared to when they're at home with their partners. Even the same guys. Take an insight from an interview with Kyron Lee. I'm actually pathetic at home sometimes. I have to apologise to Kirsten as I two-pump chump it. I don't have to worry about cameras and lights, so I can just enjoy myself. And sometimes I enjoy myself a little too much. So if we view porn with more awareness of all of these things, I think it can help us stop making those comparisons between ourselves and the guys on the screen. And that's a good start. We don't need that. And as for what we can bring into our own sexual experiences, mix up the action, mix up the intensity of sex. Don't just pound your partner unless they specifically ask you to. And communicate. Use your words. Say what you want and encourage your partner to do the same before and during sex. To quote Stoyer again, if you want to increase your sexual stamina, you're going to need to expand the range of parts you use sexually. Get creative with it. Men who struggle with premature ejaculation, they tend to be stuck in old habits. They and their partners keep doing the same things. It's predictable and they just do it every time. So if there's one useful thing we can get from all of this about porn, it's to talk about and to try new things. Do more foreplay. Share pleasure in different ways, because even a few small tweaks to the routine can make a positive difference and get you out of the pressures and the worries that have been keeping you stuck. I hope this has been insightful, and remember to stop with the comparisons. Thank you for watching.